Sala de profesores representará a Alemania en los premios Óscar, ya que ha sido nominada a la categoría de Mejor Película Internacional. Carla Novak, una idealista profesora, comienza su primer trabajo en una escuela de secundaria. Cuando se producen una serie de robos en la escuela y se sospecha de uno de los alumnos, decide llegar al fondo del asunto por su cuenta. Carla intenta mediar entre padres indignados, colegas obstinados y estudiantes agresivos. En Inédit tuvimos la ocasión de reunirnos con su director en Barcelona, con Iker Çatak. Buenos días, Iker. Gracias por estar aquí con nosotros en Inédit. Te damos la enhorabuena por la película porque es muy interesante para nosotros.
Thank you.
Tengo entendido que tu guionista, Johannes Danker, y tú estuvisteis juntos en el colegio en Turquía, en Estambul, y tuvisteis una experiencia muy similar a la que luego habéis contado en la película.
Yeah, we had actually two very similar experiences in the movie, where, first of all, we got frisked. We had to put the wallets on the table, and later we had a scene where our English class teacher asked us to stand up and scream. And I mean, other than that, there are a lot of motifs as well as like observations that, we had during our time growing up in Germany, vice versa, Turkey, where you can feel this sort of alienation towards the society that you're living in, and you can see that in many different characters, but especially with Carla Novak.
Carla es una profesora idealista que está trabajando en el área tanto de matemáticas como de deportes. ¿Cómo construiste este personaje?
How do I build that character? Well, I mean, I've been lucky enough to have a few really good teachers in my life, and I think we built that character around those teachers. So, for instance, what is a good teacher? That is a question that you ask yourself when you write a character like that, and then you come up with ideas such as, a teacher sees you as an individual rather than a mass, and sees you as an individual, sees what you're interested in, and comes to you and will, tell you, this is good, you're good at that, go for it. And I had two teachers like that. One of them was in high school, and he saw Johannes and me, talking about cinema, and he came up to us and gave us the films of Stanley Kubrick, and then we watched 2001, and all of a sudden, there was a conversation that sparked kind of the love for cinema. And in college, I had another, teacher who saw my shorts, and I was really like insecure about should I do this job or not? Am I any good at it? And he said, you know what, you have a gift, go for it. You need to stick with it. You need to go for it. It's like in any art form. The first few years where you start out, it's always hard, but you need to stick with it. And these teachers, money can't buy that. You have to be lucky to get these teachers, and that's how we created Carla Novak. Having that experience with these brilliant minds, we tried to kind of put it all in there.
¿Y cómo te documentaste sobre el mundo educativo y qué te llamó más la atención del sistema educativo alemán?
Well, we researched at a couple of schools, different schools. We went to schools in Berlin, Hamburg, and Cologne, but we were also talking to people from Munich. We talked to presidents of schools, to deans. We talked to teachers. We also talked to psychologists, which was very interesting. We talked to students, but also to parents. And ultimately, I also sat down in schools and accompanied a teacher in their everyday work for a couple of days. So I was a bit like a journalist, accompanying them. I sat down with secretaries, and the thing is that what we found out is that, first of all, there's a big lack of teachers. Germany is lacking 25,000 teachers, and nobody wants to sign up for that job anymore because it's just, the working conditions aren't so good. And, they get up early in the morning, they are overworked and underpaid, and, it's just a tough job. It's a really tough job, and I have immense respect for anybody who's doing that job, because I didn't know what they have to go through, and especially when the times of social media and this whole WhatsApp and email world, it's gotten so hard. It's gotten so hard for a teacher, and they have to put up with so much pressure that I would just hope that this film leads to more visibility of their devotion and their work.
En relación con esto, me llama mucho la atención lo que estás comentando. Los profesores viven bajo una presión increíble en la actualidad. ¿Quisiste reflejar todo esto en la película?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely wanted to show that, it's hard to be a teacher, and you need to be able to be multitasking all the time. So that was an interesting observation in school. When we were in school, it's like the way people are, the way things are happening in a parallel way. So you're doing one thing, and then at the same time you're doing another thing, and then somebody comes and talks to you, and it's just crazy. It's really crazy what they are doing.
Tu película me ha recordado a una película alemana titulada La Ola, Die Welle en alemán, y también me ha recordado a otra que es The Hunt, una película danesa. ¿Te has podido basar un poco en estas historias donde ocurre un incidente y a raíz de ese incidente ocurre algo muy grave?
Yeah, it's funny because I was just sitting with Mads Mikkelsen last week in Palm Springs, and I said to him, "Do you actually know that I stole a scene from The Hunt?" And he said, "No, I don't." And I said, "Yeah, do you remember that scene where you come into the church and you are talking to the father of the little kid?" And I said, "I have that very scene in my film." So yeah, there is these films but the Wave, Dennis Gansel's film, I haven't watched it in a long time, and it wasn't part of our research. But I remember it's about fascism and how something like that can become a big thing. Yeah. You have these influences, you have these, ultimately, as an artist, you always look for inspirations that you can steal from. Didn't say that.
Para ti, la escuela, los colegios, ¿tienen posibilidades dramáticas? ¿Son para ti un gran pozo de inspiración?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I could make 10 more films in school that happen in school, definitely. Every time there is another thing. So yeah, so when we talk to the educators during our research, I mean, the stories that they came up with, I can make many more films with that. It's always interesting because it's always multi-generational, and it's it's always these power dynamics where you have people in charge, and we have you have. So school is a great playground. The stories in school, they never end.
¿Y crees que películas como la tuya pueden llegar a influir en los colegios, a que los colegios aprendan a ver este tipo de películas y a mejorar en su trabajo?
I mean, I would feel like an imposter if I were to say anybody can take a lesson from my work. No, I'm not that convinced of myself. I'm sorry.
Muy bien, muchas gracias por la entrevista.
Of course.
Sin duda, un contundente drama que cuenta cómo una pequeña chispa puede provocar un efecto de bola de nieve en un microcosmos como el de un colegio.